Samsung Galaxy S22. It's probably the big Android launch of the year. That's because these devices will be the default purchase for a lot of people buying a high-end Android phone. If you're watching this, chances are you might be one of them. And if you are, you'll probably want to stick around and subscribe as we dive into our hands-on of the Galaxy S22, S22 Plus, and S22 Ultra. Once again, a new Galaxy S generation means 3 new phones. And we're going to start by taking a look at the model that's generated the most hype over the past few months, the Galaxy S22 Ultra. First up, I'm just going to say it, for all intents and purposes, this is a Galaxy Note. Sure, it's not called that, but I mean, just look at it. The very chunky, boxy proportions, giant curved screen, big battery, built-in S Pen, this phone really looks and acts like it belongs to the Note series. The Ultra, just like the other S22s, is a 2022 flagship, so it'll run either a Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 or a Samsung Exynos 2200 depending on where you buy it. But aside from that, you really wouldn't have been surprised to see the S22 Ultra appearing last year perhaps as a Note 21 Ultra, which means that if you've been waiting for the triumphant return of the Note, this definitively is it in all but name. Side-by-side comparison with the S21 Ultra here shows that more angular look that's featured in every Note since the very beginning. The display is of course Samsung's best, 6.8-inch 120Hz Super AMOLED 2X of course, with its new Vision Booster technology that's aimed to improve visibility and contrast in bright sunlight. There's an appropriately huge 5000 mAh battery to keep the Ultra going all day, which is a good thing considering the other 2 S22 models have actually taken a battery downgrade this year. And the battery refills quicker in the Ultra too, with 45-watt wired charging returning to Samsung's flagship. Docked into the S22 Ultra's flat bottom bezel is of course the S Pen. The stylus hasn't changed a whole lot in terms of what it's able to do, but its latency has been significantly upgraded, with response times down to 2.8 milliseconds from 9 milliseconds in the Note 20 Ultra. Whether you're taking photos with it as a Bluetooth remote, using it as a pointer, or just taking notes with it, it's really great to see the return of that built-in S Pen. As far as cameras go, it's largely a repeat performance of the S21 Ultra, which is no bad thing considering how phenomenal that camera setup was, only now it does it without the hefty camera bump of last year's phone. There's a refreshed 108MP main camera, along with 12MP ultra-wide and dual 3x and 10x telephoto. On paper, the specs for the main and the ultra-wide are the same, but Samsung says these are new sensors, so we'll have to wait and see if we can spot any differences when we get to our full review. Strangely, the individual pixel size has been reduced slightly on both telephoto cameras compared to the S21 Ultra, which is another difference we'll have to dig into once we've had more time with this phone. The S22 Ultra is a phone that's pretty much intended to give you everything you could possibly want out of a high-end Android device, and as such it is unsurprisingly expensive. The base model sells for $1,200 and comes with 8GB of RAM plus 128GB of storage, which in terms of RAM is a downgrade on the base model Ultra from last year. If you want 12 plus 256GB, you'll pay $100 more, and the same applies as you go up to 512 or 1TB of storage. So yeah, this is a serious phone and you'll pay serious cash for it. Not all the fancy camera technology is exclusive to the Ultra though. The main camera on all 3 S22 models comes with Samsung's new Adaptive Pixel technology, which is an exclusive bit of computational secret sauce for these new phones. Adaptive Pixel kicks in automatically when light levels get low. It combines full resolution images at 108MP on the Ultra or 50MP on the other two, with a bunch of pixel binned 12 to 25MP photos to spit out a full resolution image that's super clear with extra fine detail. That's a lot of technobabble, so we'll have to wait and see how well this feature actually works in the real world. Meanwhile, around the front on all 3 models, you've got the same 40MP selfie camera with new portrait night sight capabilities. It's a neat addition, and as far as we're aware, not something you'll find on any other Android phone. So what about the 2 smaller S22s? Well, these are actually where you'll find the more interesting and nuanced hardware changes compared to last year's models. Both are smaller physically than their predecessors, with the base model S22 screen measuring in at 6.1 inches diagonally, and the S22 Plus getting a 6.6-inch display. And that smaller size means both get a not insubstantial battery downgrade. 3700 mAh on the S22 and 4300 on the Plus. The Plus at least compensates for that with the addition of 45-watt charging. On the standard S22 you'll get the same 25 watts as last year. Obviously these 2 screens are smaller than last year and more efficient thanks to the use of LTPO technology. But on the other hand, well, yikes, 3700 mAh in particular is pretty small for any 5G phone. The other thing you'll notice about the two smaller S22s is the design. They've got a familiar camera hump around the back, and on the front the borders of these very flat displays are slimmer and more symmetrical, with a total lack of any chin area down at the bottom. It's really great to see this style of bezel again. Pretty much the only Android phone to do this before has been the Google Pixel 5. That's not all that's new though. Both the smaller S22s have gotten a pretty substantial camera upgrade, with the main sensor getting a bump up to 50 megapixels and the 3x telephoto basically being copy-pasted over from the S22 Ultra. That 50 megapixel sensor in particular is the biggest upgrade we've seen to the main camera of a baseline Galaxy S phone in years, so I'm really looking forward to giving it a try. All three phones of course run Samsung's One UI software based on Android 12, and we're now up to version 4.1 of One UI on the S22 series. Very few major software changes here compared to what we've already seen in One UI 4.0 on the Galaxy S21. You can now preview YouTube videos in line in Android Messages, and Google Duo will allow you to share apps in real time with your S22 or Pixel using friends as part of a handful of exclusive Google features for these phones. The bigger deal around software though is how long these phones will be supported. Samsung has announced that the S22 series will get 4 generations of Android platform updates, beating even Google with its 3 years of updates for the Pixel 6 series. So each of these phones has a great long life ahead of it. With prices starting at $799 and $999 in the US respectively, the S22 and S22 Plus are reasonably competitive, with some key upgrades that make it a great choice for anyone coming from an S20 or earlier. When it comes to the Ultra though, the main upgrade is that S Pen and the fact that it's now basically a Galaxy Note, which could make it a less tantalizing upgrade for owners of previous Samsung Ultra phones. We're going to get stuck into all 3 of these phones and give you a full review in the near future, so be sure to subscribe and follow Android Central right here so you don't miss all our coverage. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.